out fairly well this time. Kevin finds the pick onto the tank, and Jack's right there at the res. Tied down with the overclock is not something to be slept on, my friend. That's going to find 3, and that's going to basically mark the end of the match, the end of the fight. Up these windows, but Dyer with the 3-man plus, it's going to be so massive. The Aurora field is there, right on time to cancel it out, but it's not going to be able to find EJ. So now, Brawlers have to survive without a tank. What can they do here to sustain on the point? Really nothing when you got Sidon looking at you. Elko, they have block, but will not matter as they get...
Unfortunately, I think it was either Kevin or Sidon that got picked there, and then they just ran on Dyer for free, so despite the heroics of Dyer, they were not able to take it.
Folks gonna come out. Some big positive stuff for the side of the Numbys, effectively on a wasted amplification matrix thus far from Pope, and that might have been their game-winning ult before you hack the fire. Otherwise, you can't really get any good progress out of the point. Centurion's just going to be left completely uncontested because EJ typically can't be the one to fly up there. Elko can't be the one to dash up there. The team of the Numbys is just able to surround point with Sidon, who's just such a specialist on any DPS role you put him on, but it's definitely still anybody's game. And Dyer with the super punch onto Elko off the map. Oh my gosh, Dyer, what are you doing? And everybody's in the room. He's able to charge this punch up, find another, find a third. Okay, Dyer, you're going crazy right now. Okay, get traded out. Okay, I'm so glad that he got punished for that. That would have been insane if it went uncontested, but it feels like it sort of has at this point in time. Because now you got Dyer and Sidon back, and now the rest of the brawlers sort of just died on the point. Nobody's able to touch back on, but it's only good. But Sidon, just early in these fights, keeps getting this pick onto Poke, and that's such a massive play. Kevin also set up in a masterful position to find another pick and a third as well. The brawlers seem to be falling apart. I mean, what can you do to dodge? They wasted all the utility, and now EJ's gonna put it down the shatter, but gets punished for it at the same time. Now you got all the ults coming out on the side of the Numbys. You gotta think that this is game over. Even with their tank down, the rest comes through. Elgo's the last one surviving on what is not the point, apparently.
Yeah, they did a very good job rotating to the left, and it looks like they get the opening pick as well on Elko. Big pick.
That's a big pick. Sidon's really set up into a very solid position, a very punishable position around this fire truck, and Elko splitting his attention, doing his best to sort of keep track of every member of his team, trying to keep them together, but eventually the focus is going to come back onto him. Dyer just jumps in onto their safe space, into the room that they were doing their best to hold out on. The rest of the team, first pick, and the bomb actually gets lifted up by the pedal. Just some good punishment, but Elko's popping off on the back line, builds up the sim wall. It's now left to Dyer on the point, survive for himself, basically working out fairly well this time. Kevin finds the pick onto the tank, and Jack's right there at the res. Tied down with the overclock is not something to be slept on, my friend. That's going to find 3, and that's going to basically mark the end of the match, the end of the fight. Up these windows, but Dyer with the 3-man plus, it's going to be so massive. The Aurora field is there, right on time to cancel it out, but it's not going to be able to find EJ. So now, Brawlers have to survive without a tank. What can they do here to sustain on the point? Really nothing when you got Sidon looking at you. Elko, they have block, but will not matter as they get...
Unfortunately, I think it was either Kevin or Sidon that got picked there, and then they just ran on Dyer for free, so despite the heroics of Dyer, they were not able to take it.
Folks gonna come out. Some big positive stuff for the side of the Numbys, effectively on a wasted amplification matrix thus far from Pope, and that might have been their game-winning ult before you hack the fire. Otherwise, you can't really get any good progress out of the point. Centurion's just gonna be left completely uncontested because EJ typically can't be the one to fly up there. Elko can't be the one to dash up there. The team of the Numbys is just able to surround point with Sidon, who's just such a specialist on any DPS role you put him on, but especially definitely still anybody's game. And Dyer with the super punch onto Elko off the map. Oh my gosh, Dyer, what are you doing? And everybody's in the room. He's able to charge this punch up, find another, find a third. Okay, Dyer, you're going crazy right now. Okay, get traded out. Okay, I'm so glad that he got punished for that. That would have been insane if it went uncontested, but it feels like it sort of has at this point in time. Because now you got Dire and Sidon back, and now the rest of the brawlers sort of just died on the point. Nobody's able to touch back on, but it's only good. But Sidon, just early in these fights, keeps getting this pick onto Poke, and that's such a massive play. Kevin also set up in a masterful position to find another pick and a third as well. The brawlers seem to be falling apart. I mean, what can you do to dodge? They wasted all the utility, and now EJ's gonna put it down the shatter, but gets punished for it at the same time. Now you got all the ults coming out on the side of the Numbys. You gotta think that this is game over. Even with their tank down, the rest comes through. Elgro's the last one surviving on what is not the point, apparently.
Yeah, they did a very good job rotating to the left, and it looks like they get the opening pick as well on Elko. Big pick.
That's a big pick. Sidon's really set up into a very solid position, a very punishable position around this fire truck, and Elko splitting his attention, doing his best to sort of keep track of every member of his team, trying to keep them together, but eventually the focus is going to come back onto him. Dire just jumps in onto their safe space, into the room that they were doing their best to hold out on. The rest of the team, first pick, and the bomb actually gets lifted up by the pedal. Just some good punishment, but Elgo's popping off on the back line, builds up the sim wall. It's now left to Dire on the point, survive for himself, basically working out fairly well this time. Kevin finds the pick onto the tank, and Jack's right there at the res. Tied down with the overclock is not something to be slept on, my friends. That's gonna find 3, and that's gonna basically mark the end of the match, the end of the fight. Up these windows, but Dire with the 3-man plus, it's gonna be so massive. The Immortal Field is there, right on time to cancel it out, but it's not gonna be able to find EJ. So now, Brawlers have to survive without a tank. What can they do here to sustain on the point? Really nothing when you got Sidon looking at you. Elko, they have block, but will not matter. As they get
Unfortunately, I think it was either Kevin or Sidon that got picked there, and then they just ran on Dire for free, so despite the heroics of Dire, they were not able to take it.
Folks gonna come out. Some big positive stuff for the side of the Numbys, effectively on a wasted amplification matrix thus far from Poke, and that might have been their game-winning ult before you hack the Pharah. Otherwise, you can't really get any good progress out of the point. Centurion's just gonna be left completely uncontested because EJ typically can't be the one to fly up there. Elko can't be the one to dash up there. The team of the Numbys is just able to surround point with Sidon, who's just such a specialist on any DPS role you put him on, but especially definitely still anybody's game. And Dire with the super punch onto Elko off the map. Oh my gosh, Dire, what are you doing? And everybody's in the room. He's able to charge this punch up, find another, find a third. Okay, Dire, you're going crazy right now. Okay, get traded out. Okay, I'm so glad that he got punished for that. That would have been insane if it went uncontested, but it feels like it sort of has at this point in time. Because now you got Dire and Sidon back, and now the rest of the brawlers sort of just died on the point. Nobody's able to touch back on, but it's only good. But Sidon, just early in these fights, keeps getting this pick onto Poke, and that's such a massive play. Kevin also set up in a masterful position to find another pick and a third as well. The brawlers seem to be falling apart. I mean, what can you do to dodge?
Welcome everyone to first week of 8 game of the season. Potentially could be a playoff matchup down the line too, as the New Zealand Numbys face off against the Vancouver Villains. This match has been getting some talk lately. Yoda and War, or not Yoda and War, Jack and War, who are the captains of both these teams, very good friends. They've played a lot of Fortnite competitions together, so a lot of I'm sure both teams are very motivated to win here.
Systems online. Weapons ready.
Going into this, the playoff implications, absolutely 0 for the Numbys. They have locked up first seed. Even if they get swept here, they're still going to be first seed. So they're playing for fun. They're playing for pride to defeat Jack's buddy War. The Villains, if they lose here, they'll be locked into 4th seed. And I believe if they win, I believe they'll also be locked into 3rd seed. So this will decide the Villains' positioning here. pretty different comps from both teams. Asrath, we've seen a lot of this season on Junkrat. So Junkrat pick doesn't surprise me. Then Sidon and Sint kind of on like some of their comfort picks here. Dire playing the Orisa. I do like the Lucio a little bit more. Both teams are kind of running a brawl here. Strath actually early on gets Sidon. Jack might look for the res here. Jack does get the res off. But the positioning here is pretty in favor of the villains here. It's gonna be so hard to push into this Junkrat, especially without the Lucio. The good wall comes out, does catch Yoda. Asrath does end up dying to slow orb from Sidon. I think the villains are going to end up falling after that early pick from Sidon there. Good wall comes out from Sent too. And then the Numbys just kind of run in. Losing that Junkrat early, again, like, without the Lucio, that's kind of the main thing you're worried about is the Junkrat spam. You don't have the speed to kind of, like, push into the Junkrat and kind of negate his spam there. But them able to get an off angle from Sidon, able to take down Asrath is a really good opening there. Sidon already at 81% to this overclock here. Really no one else in the game is getting that close to their ult here. So Sidon is probably going to look to use this overclock mid-fight. On the other side, the speed from War probably looking to capitalize, try to catch someone out here from the Numbys. Cinda's looking for a wall here, might catch Yoda. Sidon actually uses the overclock, gets War low, Lamp comes out, saves his life. War has the movement. He gets the beat off. War with a huge beat. Raspberry does use the Coalescence to try to keep the team up here. War does end up getting taken down after the beam from the Coalescence. Dire uses Terra Surge there. So beat used for 4 ultimates. That's pretty favorable for the villains there, but 87% likely this point will go in favor of the Numbys. Might look to get some stagger kills here. Did get Asrath looking for Goku. I don't know if they'll be able to find him. And they do manage to take the point here. So good early advantage here. Sidon already halfway to his ult after using it last fight. Do you have a pretty stacked ult bank here from the Numbys, or from the villains, but the Numbys do have this Blizzard coming out from Centurion. With no beat from War, it's they're going to either have to kite out of it or just try to live through the Blizzard here, because the Blizzard could be really big here, especially. They're opting to go this kind of high ground. Asrath is playing this angle. Could look to go for an early tire here, too. The villains are starting to walk in on the Numbys here. Yoda's already half health, just taking so much poke here. Cinda's looking for this Blizzard here. Valk used early. Shatter does get Centurion there. Tyre gets 2. Goku does use his overclock too. Might be a little bit of an overinvestment there, but I guess only 3 ults, not too bad. Being able to kind of guarantee that fight is probably worth it to use a little bit extra. They did get the Valk out from Jack, but depending on how fast War can build this beat, potentially might have it before Sent opts to use the Blizzard here. Especially, it's really difficult to use the Blizzard on the retaking here. But yeah, Sidon with the overclock. We know how deadly he is with the overclock, even though he didn't get very much value with his first one. You can never count out Sidon with his ult here, especially with this Mercy Pocket too. Slides in. Yoda's shield is already super low. The window is up from Witherin. War's actually really close to this ult here. Sidon does get Goku. Gets charged by Yoda. Yoda falls so low, though, he gets taken off the map by the spear. Sidon gets 3 that fight with the overclock, looking for more. Sidon gets 4. Another 4k from Sidon, shocking to no one. Yoda does actually swap off the Ryan onto this Orisa. Orisa is in a really good state right now, especially with her recent damage buff, so I don't hate that swap there. Pretty cheap fight there from the Numbys, but really no ults used for the villains there either. So now, War does have this beat. They could opt to use it for the Blizzard, but Witherin gets picked early there. The Numbys, I think, are just going to have to reset here. It looks like Dire is trying to catch them here. Yoda falls really low, again with those fall-off buffs there for Orisa. Can do quite a bit of value just poking from range. It looks like by the time this next fight is over, it will be pretty even in terms of ult percentage. I think there's going to be about 2 more fights if both teams are lucky here. It looks like the Numbys are just giving us space there. Goku actually finds Raspberry. That's the main source of healing out early. Window is used, and the spear gets Yoda off again. Blizzard is used there. War uses the beat. Might be a little bit too late. Raspberry does get res, but... And yeah, the one pick in favor of the... There goes that classic Jack Valk pistol kill. Yeah, they did get the one pick onto Raspberry early, and then a lot of ults were used. The Valk and the Terra Surge and the Blizzard were all used for the Numbys. Able to kind of aggress, allow Jack to get that res off, and then able to just kind of stabilize for that fight. So both support ults being used there is really rough for the villains, but they do have this overclock here. Sidon's already really close to his again too. But with the overclock, Dooku also is very talented at Sojourn too, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a big value overclock here either. Sidon, again, has one of his own, does use the overclock. Both Sojourns use the overclock. Sidon gets double conked up. Dire does end up finding Yoda again. Sidon gets 2. And then Raspberry with the cleanup on that Cole there. I think that is the 3rd kill of Dire onto Yoda. Dire just getting the better in this Orisa duel. The good thing for the villains is they did get an extra ult out with that Coalescence, but the bad news for them is that, like, not really a lot of ults are going to be up this fight. They're going to have the Terra Surge and the Tire. Neither of them are really guaranteed to get anything, especially with Sidon. Might be able to get a charge shot onto this Tire. To get Withering early again. And no mercy to res that either. So I think they're just going to have to reset here. Sidon is still looking for kills on this. Gets a stagger onto Cuckoo. And, yeah, a lot of time burn off there, getting the 2 kills. Astrath going for the flank here. He does have Tire if he opts to use it. Now he just goes to back up with his team. I'm assuming there's going to be an early Tire coming out from Astrath, because I don't know if they really have anything else to engage on. Window is coming up soon from Withering, so they could look for that. Or they're just got to stay alive here. Astrath is cooking up something cheeky here. Oh, they don't touch. They had the ults too, they just did not touch. And a clean 3-0 for the Numbys there. Villains definitely had some moments there, but I feel like especially in those long drawn out fights, the Numbys just get the advantage there. There's probably a Javelin off the map, I would assume. I think he hit 2. Yep. Gold was a little bit too late, and then a really big pull into the Blizzard. So yeah, pretty decisive map there for the Numbys. We'll see if the villains have any sort of counterplay here. Stay with us. Anything could happen here. Stay with us, guys. Welcome back, everyone. The villains have picked going to Numbani here. And then we also do have a couple of roster changes here. Yep. Kevin coming in for Sent. We've seen them swap between the two of them. And then... Oh, actually, the villains hover that they were going to sub Shifty Fish in for War, but then they swapped back, so staying with War here. Yeah, Kevin, as we all know, is logged to that Widowmaker. I don't know if this was identified for the Numbys, knowing that Kevin was going to come in here, but they are running a dive look, which I think from what I have seen of the Numbys, that is like the best chance to beat them, I guess, because like you have Kevin is locked on that Widowmaker, Jack plays a lot of that Mercy, so if you see the Mercy coming out, like, you know, the other support might be a little bit more vulnerable to the dive, so we see Raspberry on that Life Weaver. Dive could be really good here. Yeah, there's just so much talent on the side of the Numbys here. It's gonna be really tough to break through, even with the kind of good matchup here. Goku won his I'd say one of his better DPS, Genji here. Aspharoth on kind of his signature tracer. Yoda playing Doomfist. Looks like they're all trying to put some pressure on the backline here. Aspharoth is in. I don't know if they're gonna rotate to meet him here or what, but Yoda is low ground. Likely looking for a shift punch onto Kevin. Actually hits the combo and gets the headshot onto Kevin. Put some pressure onto Jack there too. Gets rocked out by Dire. Might end up falling here. Yoda is so low. Yoda does manage to, like, barely stay alive. Doesn't get taken down by Sidon eventually there, too. Withering doesn't get Sidon there. Dire is looking for Withering. Withering's super low. Aspharoth gets, Raspberry. Jack might be looking for a res here, but I think the Numbys are going to give here. So, really, really good dive there. Oh, Aspharoth falls really low. How low is Kevin? 7 HP. Aspharoth almost gets the kill there. Goofy does end up dying, but the picks are coming in favor of the villains here. Sidon ends up taking down Withering. Sidon is just a menace on this this Echo, even without the Mercy. It's 3. Falls super low. Yoda might end up getting taken down here too. Spawns are in favor of the villains. Yoda is going to turn back and get that Mega there, so is Sidon. Sidon with this duplicate. I think there's a lot of really good options for Sidon here to copy. Oh, Yoda ends up getting hit with the stickies and with the focusing beam. Kevin also gets one of his own. So I think the villains are going to have to reset here. Kevin gets another with this Widowmaker. Kevin is kind of, this season has been performing a lot better than people expected. I know when people heard that he was going to be like a Widowmaker one-trick, a lot of people weren't really thinking he was going to be that good, but he's had, like, especially on certain maps, he's had really good moments on this Widowmaker, so I'm sure the Numbys are happy to see that. Pretty big ult banks coming out from both sides here. Duplicate used early onto the Doomfist. Sidon gets taken down. Beat is used by War. Jack uses a Valk of his own. Goku actually gets Sidon. The punch used onto Jack. Jack falls really low. Meteor Strike used. Put some pressure onto Dire there. The punch almost interrupts it. Not quite there. Blade is used from Goku there. Looking for Raspberry. Doesn't get taken down by Kevin, actually. Kevin looking for Aspharoth. Kevin gets 2. Looking for War. War, I think, is going to stay alive here. A lot of ults were used right there. I think in general, ult bank slightly... Oh, the punch onto Kevin. Kevin didn't have the grapple. Yoda gets the kill there. It's not resable either. Pulse is used. So slight advantage here from the villains, especially with the spawn advantage coming out. Withering close to this, Withering has this, Kitsune Rush here. Aspharoth is putting so much pressure on the backline here. Raspberry falls down to about half. Fade is used by Raspberry. Sarath gets the kill. Sarath putting in work on his Tracer here. Sidon on a Tracer of his own is also harassing the backline of the villains. Goku gets taken down by the rock from Dire. Aspharoth is trying his best to get Dire here. Dire gets the punch at 15 HP to take down the Tracer. Even down the Tracer, the spawns are going to get back so quickly for the villains here. Punch comes out, looks for Kevin. Kevin falls super low. Somehow Kevin gets the kill onto Withering. Withering is still holding onto that gate. The beat is coming up soon from War here, too. Kevin gets 2. It's just so hard to break this defense when the Widow has this control of these high grounds, especially with this Mercy that always has that res. If you do manage to get the Widow, you also have to deny the res. Sidon has this Pulse Bomb here. Might look for probably the Lucio here. Oh, actually goes to use it on the Doomfist, and the Withering does hit the Susie to prevent Yoda from falling there. Nearly a full ultimate coming out here from the villains. Raspberry does swap over to the Ana. There's the Kitsune Rush used. Looks like Yoda is looking for Kevin. Kevin falls super low. Kevin is getting the Mercy heals. Dire uses the Flux, gets Warp. War uses the Beat, keep everyone alive. Yoda still has this Meteor Strike if he needs it. Still trying to harass this high ground here. Raspberry on this Ana is going to be a lot more squishy to dive here. Astrath has the Pulse, misses the Pulse, is looking for Raspberry here. Putting quite a bit of pressure onto the Raspberry. Dire actually gets Goku. Raspberry ends up falling to Yoda there. War falls super low. Sidon does get the kill there. Kills are slightly in favor of the Numbys here. So are the respawns. They're putting all their resources onto Kevin here, and then Jack and Wither or Jack and Raspberry just there with the heals on that Widowmaker there. Pretty expensive fight from both sides there. Goku does have this blade with really no defensive support ult here. Could get quite a bit of value as long as he's able to kind of identify when the mobility ults are used. Goku actually staying a little bit too long. Gets the deflect on the Pulse. So does that manage to stay alive here and get the Pulse out, which is very good. Yoda swaps over to the... Oh, Big Blade comes out. Gets the Ana. Does get taken down by the Widowmaker, but that might be enough to kind of open up the fight here. So much heals down when the Ana falls. Yoda is just trying to put as much pressure as he can on this this backline here. Yoda falls super low. Weirman might be able to build a Kitsune Rush off of Yoda here. Yoda's identified that you kind of have to get this Mercy here. Oh, the kills are starting to go in favor of the Numbys. Dire uses the Flux. Only person there to Flux is Goku. Might have been a little bit too early there, actually, as I believe Asrath and Yoda will both be able to touch here. Could see another fight here, and especially with this Kitsune Rush, anything could happen. Pulse Bomb also, if we manage to catch this Ana out here early, could be really rough for the Numbys. Yeah. Oh, the Rock gets out. They do not. They do touch. Insane last minute touch. Ward falls to Kevin. Dire also gets Asrath, but Kevin ends up getting taken down by Goku. Kitsune Rush is down on the field right now. Pulse is used onto Yoda. Yoda does pop the Primal to stay alive. Jack Nano Primal. Of course he's gonna whip out that Glock as I feel like he does every single time he pops a Valk, because he just whips out the Glock. Looked really good there for a while for the villains. Almost instantly capped the first point, but just unable to break through the oppressive high grounds from Kevin there. I also think that the swap onto the Tracer from Sidon was a really good one off the Echo. Able to get like a lot more pressure onto the backline on that Tracer. And then just the rate he was building Pulse Bombs, even though he didn't stick every single one, I think he stuck a couple that ended up being really big. So we'll see if I wouldn't be surprised if the villains stick with the same thing. But I also could see them like maybe swapping up one or two characters. One or two heroes here, I should say. Oh, they fully swap it out, actually. I personally don't think I like this for the same reason that I said I didn't like the Dire Sigma with the Widowmaker and the Ana. It's just so diveable, and this is such a dive-heavy map.
Systems calibrated for maximum cooperative behavior.
Yeah, could be really rough here if you're able to if the Numbys are able to kind of identify that dive would just kind of put a lot of value onto the villains here. But like they do have a lot of really good like poke DPS here, so I mean if Goku or Asrath were able to get a lot of damage out early, could prevent like any sort of rotations in with this if they stay on the spam, or could prevent like any sort of dives coming out. So, and we'll see pretty similar comps from both sides actually. Only difference being the Ana for the Baptiste for the villains, and then the Ashe for the Widow. I think Ashe is a little bit better here just because sightlines aren't great, especially for the attacking team. So the Dynamite I think it's a little bit more value than just having the headshots. the Numbys are opting to go low ground here, which I think is kind of what you have to do. You don't really want to be pushing high ground into this oppressive poke comp here. Withering falls really low just to the Sigma orbs. Sidon actually goes to the high ground and gets 2. Kevin does get the headshot onto Withering, but I think with those two both dying, Guku also ends up falling too. Very and then Beam goes onto Yoda there. Yeah, pretty decisive win. I don't know if I think that was a 4K. I think Kevin stole the ace from Sidon there. So another like instant first point cap, especially like Numbani is one of the ones that we see those really long first point holds. So kind of surprising to see both teams able to get the first point in one fight. Sidon does have this duplicate. Guku is only 38% to his. Dyer does swap over to the Winston. Like I said, I think Winston could be really good against this backline. Esrath actually goes on to the Widowmaker too. So they're fully committing to this kind of long-range poke comp. Dyer just identifies that and just instantly goes Winston. Dyer takes so much damage from that Echo there. Sidon does actually get Guku, and uses the duplicate onto Widow. Everyone is already dead, so I don't know if he has very much value to get out here. Jack uses the Valk. Trying to keep Raspberry alive there, doesn't manage to keep him alive through the Flux. Does whip out the pistol there, gets 1, looks for more. Going for the res, the Rock takes him out of it. Sidon actually gets 1 of his own. Dyer is still in, just able to zap the Sigma through his shield here. Withering is trying his best to keep Yoda alive. I think he will. The Nano actually comes out onto Yoda, keeping him alive and getting the kill onto Dyer there. Dyer with the I die DDD in chat. And I think that it looks like the villains might be able to stabilize here, but Sidon is alive, so anything can happen here. Kevin and Esrath are just kind of doing this Widow duel here. Playing their own games there. Guku actually copies the Winston here. Instantly gets slept and likely is going to get taken down through that duplicate. Sidon falls super low, the beam doesn't quite get him. Dyer's looking for more, goes onto the Mercy, War pops the Valk. Goes for the res, I think actually is going to get it off. And does get topped up there by Withering. War gets, or Yoda gets Kevin. Primal is used by Dyer, Raspberry falls to Esrath, so still super winnable for the villains, even with these ults being used. Sidon gets taken down through the Flux, but does have the focusing beam to try to take down Yoda. Esrath does end up falling, but I think it is slightly favorable here for the villains. Guku falls really low, but Yoda's just in the backline, kills the Mercy. Sidon ends up getting taken down there too. It looks like the Numbys are going to reset. Kevin gets 2 actually. They do have the res, so they'll be able to get 1 of those back up, but they're still going to be down 1 for this fight. Are starting to build a lot of ultimates here for the villains. Flux does come out, looks for Kevin, gets Kevin. He does end up falling. Sidon goes back to this Tracer here, looking for this Mercy. War falls really low. The lamp is used. The Rock actually gets used and gets Sidon. Jack does get the res onto Kevin, but I think it's still pretty even from both sides here. Esrath actually gets 2. Raspberry's alone on the cart, so it might get run over by either the Sigma or this Widowmaker. Dyer is trying his best to just put pressure on the backline, but it's really only him and this Ana here, so there's only so much the Dyer could do here. Jump does end up hitting the bus, so he might get taken down here. He falls really low. He is close to his Primal if he needs to. Does manage to get out, and does finish building Raspberry's Nano. So with Nano, Primal, and this Sights from Kevin. Nano early used onto Dyer to try to get this Baptiste, so is the Primal. Valk is used, but it's not going to be enough to keep this Baptiste alive. Nade comes out onto Guku. Guku falls really low. Guku also gets taken down. War gets the res onto Withering. Really only 1 kill in favor of the Numbys, so it still could go either way. Yoda gets Kevin and Esrath gets Jack, so it's still... the villains are still in this. Esrath does get taken down. Dyer gets 2. Dyer looking for more. War falls really low. I think War is going to get taken down here. Yoda's alone on point here. The spawns are really favorable. Withering swaps over to the Lucio, and so does Guku, almost back soon. Doesn't quite make it there in time. Burned almost 6 minutes off the clock, but ultimately Dyer just able to get like 3 kills on his own to take Numbani there. It looked a lot better there coming out from the villains, but still barely a little bit short. Another thing I haven't really mentioned is the villains are down Cupcake, who I believe is their highest. Yeah, he's their highest SR player. He's the only GM1 player on their team, so it does hurt to be down him. But Goku is still a capable DPS player. So yeah, we saw a lot of really good improvements there from the villains. We'll see if they can finish trying to scrape together everything they have left and take a map off the Numbys here, who are this season notorious for losing on Koth Point. So we'll see going into this Koth Point if the villains are able to take one off the Numbys or if they're gonna fall in 3 here. So stay with us, guys. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. Next map here is Oasis. We see the exact same swaps we were expecting from the Numbys. They do this every single time. There we go. They put Sent in for Kevin for 2 reasons. One is because a lot of the Koth maps, which are map 3, are not very good for Widowmaker. So they put Sent in and can either play Sent on the Pharah or play him on the Mei. And then also, it sets them up to get their choice for map 2, or map 4. So they go into map 4, which is going to be an escort map. There's a lot of really good sniper maps. So you pick the best map for Kevin on Widowmaker. So I checked. There have been 7 games this season. Numbys are undefeated, so they've won all 7, but they've only won 2 games in sweeps. Every other game they've had, 5 out of their 7 have been 3-1. So it's always Koth that they lose. So we'll see. We'll see if the villains manage to take it off. But I'm sure the Numbys want to get their sweep here to kind of break that trend going. Pretty different comps here. The Brawl going into the Sigma. Depending on how the teams want to play it, I think could be good for either team here. Especially with this Scent on the Genji here. Could put a lot of value on this Zen. Guku falls super low. The nade comes out onto Scent. Scent falls super low. Does manage to stay alive here. Shout is used. Guku does end up getting taken down by Dyer's Bleed. And with SRF falling too, it looks like it will go in favor of the Numbys there. Yeah, the problem with running the spam comp into the Brawl is if the Brawl manages to get on top of you, you just lose. The Junker Queen just gets a huge axe. You know, the Genji can dash through you. Jack can just throw a good damage orb in there. We do see full swaps coming out. I think this is a really good swap going onto the Ryan comps with Guku on this Mei. Should be really good into this Junker Queen. Junker Queen, I think, usually will struggle into those really heavy Brawl, like this Reinhardt. Ooh, Yoda falls really low. Lamp is used to keep him alive. Dyer falls really low on his own side. Jack is close to this Coalescence there. Could be really big here. Is looking for Shifty Fish on this Baptiste here. Does have the coal, likely is going to use it right away. Does use the coal. Worf, or Yoda falls really low. Esworth gets Raspberry, so both Lucios are traded. Guku also gets taken down. Jack is looking for more onto the backline. Does force out the Lamp, though. With both Orion and the Baptiste super low, Lamp falls too. Shifty thinks this is winnable, so he uses the window. Probably would like to have that one back. Sint does get a deflect kill through the window, which has got to be rough. Good news is they do get out the coal for the window. Both are very fast building ultimates. Neither is really like thought of as like a big win condition, but a lot of really good ults coming out for the Numbys. So I got to be scared of that if I'm a villains player. The Junker Queen ult and this Blade are both coming out very soon. Withergren doesn't quite have this beat yet for the Blade, so it could be big. Shatter is used by Yoda. Ends up taking down Jack. Looks for Sidon. Sidon falls super low. It's like Sidon will get the mini. Sidon does take down the Reinhardt that's just in his face. Bob gets 2 there too, so it looks like it's going to be a clean 100-0 sweep for the Numbys here. I don't really know if anyone can touch here. Esrath looks like he's going to get taken down before he can touch. I don't think he got the touch off. Beat is used. Yeah, Beat was used right before the Bob there. Or Beat was built right after that Bob was used for Sidon, so very unfortunate there for the villains. I could see them staying on the same thing there. I think part of it is just because that was such a fast map, and because they swapped so late, is they just didn't have the they were always at an ult disadvantage, so. Do you see Dyer showing this ball here? I don't know if he'll stay on it. Very interesting comp here for the villains. I don't think I like this. I don't know what the point of this is. If they know the ball is coming, the Sombra's good. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense. I personally don't like this Mei, because the Mei, you kind of want to play this like Brawl if you have a Mei, but you also don't have a Lucio, so I'd much rather see like people playing like another sniper or even any sort of burst damage. Sidon goes in really early with this this Reaper, but is forced out. The dive here is really good into the comp that the Numbys are running. Jack might get taken down. Boop is used. Raspberry gets taken down. Both mid supports are traded here. Yoda gets taken down by Dyer. Dyer looking to slam the high ground here. Looks like he's going to get Seraph. And Guku looks like going to fall out too. Guku does get his. Guku got Sidon. I think Guku's just going to get staggered here. Got the kill, but the Ice Block just staggered himself. The Sombra is also really weird with the Sigma comp. Maybe that they identify that there's the ball and they want to play the Sombra for the ball, but it still feels really weird with the comp they're running. I mean, I guess they're kind of going for this like anti-dive comp here is with the Brig too. They just swapped over to the Brig. Dire is already close to these mines here. Looking to slam it on the back line. Actually slams Yoda. Yoda's a little bit aggressive here. Team does follow up shortly behind him, but Shifty does end up falling. Sidon gets 2, actually. Looks like Sarath is going to get staggered out there, too. It's really dominant so far. It looks like nearly a full ult bank is coming up for the Numbys here. That Sombra swap is going to be really rough coming in that late because you're only 30% ult charge. You probably won't be able to build it within the next 2 fights here, at least. Dire has mines, Jack has coal, which got a ton of value last time. Oh, almost... Dire almost kills Shifty there with the roll through. Sidon gets the Death Blossom gets 2. Esrath gets 1 of his own, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Staggers here could be devastating for the villains. Minefield is used by Dire. Looking for Gooku. Doesn't have staggering Gooku again. Gooku also used the Blizzard, so... Kevin, trust the area cleared in chat. I think they'll be able to fight here, but... Rally's probably not going to be built for this Blade. Oh, they don't even need the Blade. They aren't going to get the Blade because Scent falls down really early there. So ults are very quickly turning in favor of the villains. Jack falls really low, forces the fade out. Dire is just contesting point here. It's going to be 99 regardless, but... The villains, I think, are going to be able to kind of turn around and deal with Dire here. Scent ends up getting taken down by the virus from Esrath, but Sidon does end up taking him down. Well, now they have to rally for the Blade, but a lot of times that's not even going to be enough to like sustain through the Blade here. Early rally and early Flux. Flux does end up catching the ball, but I don't know if they'll be able to do enough damage to take him down. The Rock, it does hit, so they do manage to take down Dire. Really big pick there. Sidon is just doing so much damage on this Reaper. Blade comes out from Scent. Beat used by Raspberry, but the EMP is used to prevent Scent from being able to dash onto anyone. EMP traded for Blade and for Beat. Really good trades. Gooku does end up falling to Jack there. Jack does use the coal to try to keep his team alive. Raspberry falls really low, but Jack actually gets taken down by Shifty Fish. Numbys are starting to get the picks here. Sidon gets 2, looking for more. Sidon is super low, though. Shifty Fish takes down Sidon. The Brig is really low, does get taken down, but Yoda finds Raspberry. I don't know if Yoda will be able to do enough, but he might have just been able to give his team enough time to come back and fight this. Gooku on this Tracer will at least be able to kind of contest this point here. At least give Esrath enough time to get back. Esrath is coming back super soon here, especially with this hack. Might be able to zone out the ball. Nano comes out and he gets Jack! Esrath gets Jack, that might be all they need to be able to kind of stabilize here. Yoda does swap onto the ball of his own. Sidon uses the Death Blossom, gets both supports. I think that's going to be it. Losing both supports at 99%. Probably is going to do it here for the villains. And yep. Villains end up falling 3-0. The Numbys get their difficult map 3 win. Looks pretty clean today, but last couple of weeks they've been struggling on that, so it's good to see them conquering their demons. Sidon on this Reaper. We don't usually see a lot of Sidon on Reaper, so it's good to see them playing new, fresh things there. So, let's see. Match MVP. Let's do... This is probably going to be the last, not probably. Last map of this match of the season for the regular season for the Numbys and for the villains. Just because the Numbys won, I kind of want to give it to Jack. He got a ton of value on that Moira. His Mercy always gets so much value on the Glock kills. Got a lot of really good reses in there. I know a lot of people love to give respect to Sidon and Dire, both of which are very good players. Literally everyone on the Numbys I wouldn't have a problem with giving match MVP to, but I think I'm gonna give it to Jack today just because I feel like he's able to get so much value on that on those heroes he was playing today. Let's see. Let me go yoink him real quick. Hello, Jack.
Hello.
I've decided to name you the match MVP. So first off, congratulations for your win and your undefeated season. I gotta ask you first. How does it feel to take down War?
You know, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah,
War made a meme. We came out on top. It's just how it's meant to be.
you gotta make a meme in response to War.
I'm not that
Oh, you're not that talented.
drastically talented, but
Yeah,
I can try.
you can try. I'd love to see it. So you guys probably right now are the front runners going into the playoffs. Undefeated season again. Looking forward at like other teams in the playoffs. Are there any teams that you're like keeping an eye out for? You're worried about at all, or are you pretty confident in your team's ability to beat anyone?
Um, Probably still on the Zenits. I think that they're probably we
Yeah,
haven't faced them yet, so we don't know how we really compare to them. But they're probably the team that we need to worry about. I would say the most. We kind of did decent in our own division.
yeah,
So I'm feeling pretty good going to playoffs, but yeah, we're hoping we see them in finals or
yeah.
however it lines up or whatever.
I think that could be a fun matchup too. Like the
Yeah, that'll be
Corey
fun.
versus Sidon, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so another thing I wanted to ask you, I don't know if I've had a chance to ask you this season is after the draft, you see Kevin sitting there as GM DPS player, 50K. Were you at
Well,
all surprised he was that cheap? Or were you
I
expecting him to be kind of low?
so going into the draft, I knew he put widow only,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like we didn't know. He was in the back of my mind the entire draft, and because he's a probably gonna go for cheap being a widow only, but again he's widow only basically. So
Yeah.
that was what my plan was. But then when I got Sidon, which was a kind of a surprise pick, no one really bid me up on that at all.
Yeah.
I was like, might as well get the duo together, and we got him cheap, so it actually really helped me for that.
Um, there's been a ton of like standout players this season. Like we all knew Sidon was gonna be good on DPS, but uh Dyer is like kind of been one of the big standout players on the Numbys this season. What do you think about Dyer as like a teammate and as a player?
Dyer is literally my goat. I he was like one of the last picks that I had for the draft, and he's really clutching up for that tank. Because I think initially he didn't sign up as tank, and then he signed up as tank later.
Oh yeah,
So,
is he not a tank player?
well, obviously he definitely is.
Yeah, but is
But
he like a main role supporter or anything like that, or is he a tank main role?
I'm not really sure because
Well, I'll dig into
he's
that.
definitely he definitely knows what he's doing on tank, and we haven't really played him that much on support. I wouldn't be surprised if his support's super
Yeah.
good as well.
Um,
But yeah,
I thought about giving him match MVP after seeing him get like I think 3 javelin kills onto to Yoda
he was
map one.
crazy on Surabasa, knocking Yoda off
Yeah,
twice.
yeah. Um, so yeah, a lot of your players like really talented. Oh, how does it feel to finally win a map 3?
You know,
It feels like it's been
we were
forever.
we were talking and we rolled out on a really weird comp, and we said if we lose this first round, we deserve to lose the entire
Yeah,
map,
yeah.
and it worked out. So I'm proud of us for that. But
It
yeah, it's
is
definitely cool
is
getting a
Kevin
3-0 victory.
bummed he didn't get to play map 4?
We had a plan. We were gonna put him in on circuit if we lost.
Yeah,
He was
shocking.
he changed his name in the Discord to Circuit Enjoyer, so
Oh, that's what that
he
means.
he probably wanted to play circuit, but the 3-0 victory is also clutch, so we'll take it.
I noticed you had a lot of really clutch moments on support today, and like a lot of people don't really realize support's like a carry, can be a carry role, but like every single time you valked, it seemed like you got a pistol kill. Every single time you used Cole, it felt like you got someone. Um, are you always looking to be super aggressive when you play support, or do you like to peel back for your team sometimes?
I personally like being a DPS support,
Yeah,
so I will be whipping out the Glock almost every other time if I can. Moira, I will generally fade into the back line or do something. I remember I watched a stream back a while ago, and I think Fedora said, I don't know how he can get away with this, but I do.
yeah,
So I kind of just keep going. I get a little punished. Yoda definitely was looking for me in that last map, but I tonight was also kind of a ego battle between me and War, so I had to
true, true.
definitely go after him. But yeah, I definitely like being aggressive. It's kind of the fun aspect of support as well.
So, looking at the schedule right now, it looks like we do have, I believe it is our first official match. The villains are going to play the Zeniths. You guys locked into that first seed are going to play the winner of the Gangsta Turrets versus Imposters. Now that you know your matchup, do you guys like do any, or when you, I guess next Saturday you're gonna know your matchup. Do you guys ever do any scouting, or you just kind of play your own game?
I know that we have scouting going on. We already have a few details that were taken down for some of the other teams. We haven't really looked into because I think we already played the imposters and gangster turrets. We might want to look into. We haven't really seen
Yeah.
much of them, but
Do you have like
we
a
definitely
dedicated?
do scouting.
Do you have like a dedicated scouter on your team? Does like Raspberry like watch all the VODs and like take notes or anything like that?
It's generally, I would say, Sidon. I don't know if
Sidon, yeah.
Sidon's watching the VODs though. I know he tunes into the streams and stuff, but he definitely comes in clutch with a lot of details about our upcoming opponents.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Sidon being like a big studier, I think kind of fits. So,
I also like to participate in the scouting a little
yeah,
bit.
I know
I
like
kind of knew what these guys were going
you've
into
been in the league
because
for a while, so at least you know like a lot of these players like hero pools and what you kind of expect from them. So, Sidon, I'm kind
yeah,
of surprised Sidon's been that into it considering how new he is to the league. That the fact that he's kind of already like looking at these like hero picks that he'd expect from these teams, but
yeah.
I think that just about does it. I'll ask you El Clasico. If you could not be match MVP, who would you give it to on your team? I would say your team, but I guess technically you could give it to someone on the villains. Who would you give it to and why?
Oh, this is tough. It's so hard every
Yeah,
week when we get asked this question because I feel like everyone does something so clutch. Um, I would have to say Dyer for the environmental kills
yeah.
this week.
You don't see those
Those were
often,
crazy,
so you got to respect it.
especially two on the same point.
Yeah, I was like back-to-back fights. Yoda swapped onto the rest, and I was like, oh, he's gonna use the gold, so he won't get punished off, and then he gets speared, and then like gold's like a second too late. So
It was crazy timing when I think
I
we
know.
played the game too. I was
Yeah, it was. It
astonished.
was. But yeah, I think that just about does it. Thank you for letting me interview you. Congratulations again to your undefeated season and your win over the villains. Good luck in the playoffs. Uh, I hope my team sees you guys too. I'd love to play against your team again, get that rematch in there. But
Yes, sir.
congratulations. Uh,
Yes, thank
we'll
you.
see you. We'll see you in one of our upcoming streams. I'm sure.
Yes, sir. See you and thank you for
Yeah.
making me MVP.
Let's see. Next game's coming up. I believe we have two on Friday. Tomorrow we have the Raccoons versus the Brawlers, a very big matchup. Could determine who. I think it will determine who makes the playoffs now. And then we have the Dongers versus the Chinchillas. The Chinchillas are searching for that first win, and the Dongers are looking for that 2 seed. So very impactful maps tomorrow. So everyone stay tuned. We'll see you guys then. Thank you all for watching, and